If you're looking for cheap, instant, and reliable Madden Ultimate Team coins, make sure to check out buymutcoins.com and use the discount code RBT for 10% off your purchase. Yo, what is going on, everybody? This is Samuel Brown, aka RBT, coming at you with another Madden 17 experiment today. And today we're going to be doing what if every NFL backup quarterback was actually the starter. So hopefully you guys do enjoy this video, and if you do, make sure to drop a like. And if you have any more suggestions like this, let me know in the comment section below. And if I see any awesome suggestions, I'll definitely implement them into a future video. So the way this is going to work is pretty freaking simple. We're going into a franchise as we always do in these experiments, and every backup quarterback is the starting quarterback. Now the way I had to do this was pretty freaking stupid, because you couldn't just edit a roster and order the depth chart like you want to have it ordered for like a franchise or anything, because like I ordered the depth chart with all the backups being the starters and went to the franchise, and obviously the team's already put the starting quarterback already back as starting quarterback, so I had to go through and like edit the rosters and like make the actual starting quarterback like really bad in terms of rating. So that's the way we had to go about that, and I'll show you guys here in just a second. I'll show you the starter for every single team, and I'll explain why I had to use the Bears here in just a second. But I am going to go through and show you guys the starting quarterback for every team, which is technically the backup. So David Fales is the starting quarterback for the Bears. Half the Bears quarterbacks are actually injured, and the reason I had to use the Bears is because if I had another team selected when I went into this franchise, the starting quarterback for the team would be the kicker because everybody else is injured, so they wouldn't cut him. And since Matt Barkley was the starter, I made his overall really bad, so David Fales would be the starter, but he wasn't the starter because they cut both him and Matt Barkley, and the kicker was the starting quarterback. So I had to manually go in and have David Fales as the starting quarterback with the Bears. So anyways, we're going to go through, guys. I'm just going to show you all the starting quarterbacks, like I said, which is technically the backups. But we're going to sim the season, guys, see who wins the Super Bowl and stuff, see who has like the best stats from all the backup quarterbacks, see how every team does. It'll be pretty freaking interesting, guys, you know, to go through and see how the NFL would be if all the backups were the starters, see like how each team would be in terms of success, like see if the teams like the Patriots fall off because Tom Brady's no longer the starter, although Jimmy Garoppolo has turned out he could be pretty freaking good. Have to see how like the Packers do and Aaron Rodgers is the starter. Here the Chiefs no longer have Alex Smith as the starter, they have Nick Foles. Like I said, I had to go through and make their overalls bad so they would actually start the backup quarterbacks, because just Madden franchise in terms of editing rosters sometimes are just absolute eights. Now this is the interesting one. I mean, Tony Romo is technically the backup quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys, so he is going to be a starter in this video. Now the Dolphins have Matt Moore, who got himself a Team of the Week card in Ultimate Team pretty recently, I believe. Falcons have Matt Schaub as the starter. Blaine Gabbert is going to be the starter, although he was the starter earlier on in the season, but now Colin Kaepernick in real life is the starter. Josh Johnson I went with as the backup quarterback for the Giants. He's going to be starting. Chad Henne here for the Jaguars. Jets have Christian Hackenberg. I could have gone with Bryce Petty, who's like one of the worst overalls on the team in terms of quarterbacks, but like he's actually starting in real life now, so I went with Christian Hackenberg instead of Geno Smith or Ryan Fitzpatrick, who they have started in the past. Then Orlovsky is going to be the Lions starter in this one instead of Matthew Stafford. Here we go, Brett Hundley is going to be the starter instead of Aaron Rodgers, and Cam Newton is not going to be the starter. Joe Webb is not the starter either. It's going to be Derek Anderson. As you see here, Patriots have Jimmy Garoppolo. I think the Patriots still could do pretty freaking good, because Jimmy Garoppolo is a lot better than a lot of the other backup quarterbacks in the NFL. And there's only one team that kind of got messed up here, and I can't do anything about it because Madden is just age, dude. Like, it just won't work. I had to like make this franchise like 6 times to actually get the rosters mostly correct. Like right here, Johnny Manziel is going to be the starting quarterback for the Seahawks. I guess they signed him out of free agency. They didn't want to have Javon Boykin as the starting quarterback. The last time I did this, while I was trying to get this ready, freaking they signed Matt Flynn instead of Johnny Manziel, and he was going to be the starter, which I thought actually kind of made sense since he used to be with the Seahawks, but I just can't do anything about that because they're going to sign a free agent every single time, so I guess we're going to have to deal with that. That's the only team that's messed up, though. Landry Jones for the Steelers, Tom Savage for the Texans, although he did come in this previous week with the Texans and play pretty freaking well, so he might be the starter moving forward for the Texans. He might have already been named the starter, but in this video he's going to be starters. And now, guys, I am going to sim the season and see how this season goes with all the backup quarterbacks starting. I want you guys to let me know in the comment section below your predictions for how this season is going to go. I want you to let me know what team you think is going to do pretty freaking good, what team you think is going to win the Super Bowl with their backup quarterback starting. I'm probably, you know what, I think the Cowboys are probably easily going to win the Super Bowl this year, because they make the Super Bowl a lot in simulations, and they still have Tony Romo starting, which, I mean, is a pretty freaking good quarterback in terms of Madden, by far the best quarterback in the simulation. So I'm going to say the Cowboys win the Super Bowl in the simulation. Let me know what you think in the comments below. So not surprised the Bears didn't make the playoffs because everybody on the team's pretty much injured anyway, and then we had a backup quarterback starting. We actually went 5-11. The Packers went 5-11. The Vikings actually won the division. So I'm going to go in really quick and see who won like every single division and see who's going to be making the playoffs. We'll start in the AFC North. The Steelers won this time, and that's pretty crazy. The Ravens went 6-10. The Texans won the AFC South. My Titans didn't make the playoffs. Every team pretty much went 8-8 in the AFC South. That's crazy. Patriots, I knew the Patriots were still going to do pretty freaking good because Jimmy Garoppolo is not bad at all, especially probably the second best backup quarterback in the game. They went 11-5. The Bills also made the playoffs. The Chargers went 11-5. Raiders went 10-6. NFC North, the Vikings, as you already saw, they won. The Buccaneers won the NFC South. The Falcons also making the playoffs. NFC East, the Cowboys actually didn't make the playoffs. Wow, dude, that's actually crazy. How did the Cowboys not make the playoffs? They usually make the playoffs normally, and now that every team had a backup quarterback starting, they just kind of do worse. That's really weird. And the Seahawks still win the NFC West. And now I want to go through and look at all the quarterback stats, guys, and see what quarterbacks had like the best seasons. So Landry Jones actually led the NFL in passing yards, almost 5,000 yards. I'm kind of actually curious to see if any backup quarterbacks, which technically is a starter in this video, came in top 10 for the MVP race. I mean, that's stats that definitely can get it done. Almost 5,000 yards, 39 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. AJ McCarron with a good season, 4,700 yards, 36 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. Then Orvalski also pretty good season. Well, not really, threw 23 picks, so disregard what I just said, but he threw for a lot of yards. Paxton Lynch, not a bad season, 4,400 yards. Tony Romo, dude, 41 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. That's why I thought the Cowboys were going to do good, but obviously they didn't do too good. It's like Dak Prescott. What the heck? Huh? Okay, so anyways, let's just disregard that. Jimmy Garoppolo, 4,100 yards, 27 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. Colt McCoy, not a bad year. Anybody really stand out? Let's see who threw the most touchdown passes. I know Tony Romo did, but let's see behind that. Tom Savage threw 30 touchdowns, which isn't bad. Let's see who threw the most interceptions. Brett Hundley threw 24 picks, so no wonder the Packers had a bad year. Christian Hackenberg threw 17 picks, didn't look like he had a great season. Kellen Clemens, 23 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. Now let's see who had the worst offense, and that was the Jets. And that was with Christian Hackenberg starting. The 49ers had the second worst, with Blaine Gabbert as the starter, who actually was the starter earlier on in the season. So now, guys, let's see if either Tony Romo... I'm actually going to predict that Landry Jones won the MVP. And he did this. So that's actually pretty freaking crazy. And look at that. Tony Romo came in second. But Landry Jones, an actual backup quarterback, was freaking amazing, dude. He's like a 67 overall. And he went 10-6 with the Steelers and won the MVP. Did anybody else? AJ McCarron came in fifth. I don't even know. I don't know what to say about this one, guys. But Johnny Manziel with the Seahawks, dude, came in 8th. Oh, wow, dude. Jimmy Garoppolo came in 9th, and Colt McCoy came in 10th. So look at some of these backup quarterbacks, dude, having some pretty freaking good seasons. Now I want to go through. I'm kind of curious. How did Johnny Manziel do with the Seahawks? I mean, I know he's really not their backup quarterback, but there's nothing I could really do about that. But let's see. I mean, looks like pretty good stats. He got sacked 72 times, which isn't too freaking good. But, I mean, that doesn't look like MVP caliber stats. I mean, it's pretty freaking good, but he did come in the top 10 in the MVP. I want to go to the Steelers roster and see how much Landry Jones actually improved the season in terms of overall. Since he won the MVP and all, he was a 67, I believe, before, and he only went up to a 70 overall. So, as a 70 overall, Landry Jones won the MVP. I'm going to predict the Steelers. They won it twice in yesterday's video, in the same video, in 2 separate simulations, the Steelers won. So maybe Madden's trying to tell us, like, no matter what, maybe just the NFL's rigged and they already know the Steelers are going to win the Super Bowl in real life. So here we go, boys. Let's see who actually won the Super Bowl with all the backup quarterbacks starting. Like I said, I'm going to say the Steelers, and wow. The Oakland Raiders beat the Seattle Seahawks 24-14. So Johnny Manziel brought the Seahawks to the Super Bowl, dude. And let's see how the Oakland Raiders did. Connor Cook leads the Raiders to a Super Bowl ring, dude. Wow. He threw for 195 yards and a touchdown. Let's see in terms of rushing yards. Latavius Murray had a pretty good game. Where did the Steelers get beat? They got beat by the Raiders. Okay, at least they got beat by the Super Bowl champions. But guys, with that said, so if every backup quarterback was actually the starter, it looks like Connor Cook and the Raiders would win the Super Bowl. And I guess, in a sense, according to this, the Seahawks would sign Johnny Manziel, and somehow the Browns would acquire Dak Prescott. And Landry Jones would be an absolute freaking beast, and apparently is better than Ben Roethlisberger. So that's what Madden's trying to tell us. But with that said, guys, that is going to do it for this video. Hopefully you guys did enjoy, and if you did, make sure to drop a like. If you have any other ideas, like I said, guys, let me know in the comment section below. With that said, guys, be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I will catch you guys next time. Have a great rest of your day. Peace.